Well, they did it. Florida State finishes undefeated at home, 18-0 and second in the ACC. For Michael Hudak, senior staff writer, I'm Blake Devine, sports editor of the FSView News at FSUnews.com. Well, Mike, obviously a huge victory for the Seminoles tonight on senior night in front of a big crowd. What was it like seeing this team just play a very cohesive effort in the regular season finale?
Well, this game was pretty emblematic of what we've seen from this Florida State team all year. They may not start the game as well as they would like, but they finished strong. The defense was really what carried this team in the second half, and Miami's a great perimeter shooting team. Florida State was able to apply good ball pressure at the top of the key throughout most of the second half, held Miami to like 7 of 21 three-point range. So this was a really big game for Florida State, but it was different from what we're accustomed to seeing from this team at home. We're used to this team blowing out opponents by 38, 48, even 50 points at home. In this game, this was a defensive-minded game that Florida State played to their opponent. Miami was just that kind of team. But for guys like Michael Ojo, for guys like Phil Kofor, Jarquez Smith, the guys that have been in this program for a couple of years now, this was huge for them to get this big victory for Florida State and to help this team become undefeated at home for the first time in 41 years. That's something that they'll be able to tell their kids and grandkids 40, 50 years from now, and it's something that really meant a lot to this community and for this team to finish off the season that they had.
Yeah, obviously, couldn't have said it better myself. 3 of 4 wins to finish the regular season. We're going to take an inside look of Coach Hamilton's post-game interview along with the players.
We're making progress, but in order to break into that hierarchy of traditionally rich programs in the ACC, you have to keep everything in perspective. Let's finish this season off and let's don't start taking any bows at this point in the season. Let's see where we finish and then stay focused enough, prepare ourselves to continue to keep playing well as we move through the remaining games as we move into next season.
And we went 18-0 at home, and our seniors were very joyful and took it in as it's their last game here. And it would have been a long run. It'll be the first time for those guys that they get to go to the tournament and see how that life is.
This is the first time in a very long time we went 18-0 at home, and I think the fans are a very big part of that. So we had to go out and show them some love after the game.
It means a lot, living here on a good note. When the last home game, we're undefeated at home this season, which means a lot to us. And not only that, this helps us down the road, in the tournament. So now I think we're probably going to have to double bye.
Well, obviously a lot of positive things to take out of the post-game press conference from Coach Leonard Hamilton, the rest of the Florida State players. Michael, final thoughts on a fantastic regular season for Florida State?
I think that this fan base and this community really needs to take time to appreciate how good this team was this season. I know that they slipped up a couple times on the road to unranked teams and never really played up to their standard in those games. But Florida State had an exceptionally good season, something that a lot of these fans here at Florida State aren't really accustomed to since 2011, 2012, but even that team wasn't really as good at home as this team was. This team in 2016, 2017 beat 5 out of 6 consecutive ranked opponents. That's something that no team in the history of the NCAA has ever done. And this is the ACC. This is one of the best conferences in all of college basketball. There are going to be the great powerhouse teams like Louisville, UNC, Duke, and so on and so forth. And Florida State is actually the 3rd winningest program in the ACC since the early 2000s when Leonard Hamilton took over. But this team never really struggled that much at home. And all those great programs, you're going to eventually have a bad night at home. The opponent is just going to outplay you. That never really happened for Florida State this season. Yes, they're undefeated at home, but the way in which they beat their opponents at home, it was emphatic, and it was something that these fans are really going to remember in the years to come.
Florida State finishes 24-7 overall, 12-6 in the ACC, 2nd overall in the best conference in America. For Michael Hudak, I'm Blake Devine for the FSView.com and the FSView in Florida Flambeau. We will see you in Brooklyn for the ACC Championship.